I'm back in the shed today and I'm doing something different. Today I'm working on a part that's going to go on my daily driver. Over the last few months, I've been learning how to use a CAD program purely so I can get stuff like this laser cut. It's something I've wanted to do. There's no way I could get an item like this and cut it by hand. And to pay someone, they charge $120 an hour to do these drawings. So I learned at the end of last year how to set up a program that I could do this for free. The program is for free. The parts are not, unfortunately. But that's what I'm doing today. I wanted to share this video with you because if you invest a bit of time in learning these programs, you can get stuff like this cut. And it saves you time and you end up with a professional looking product. And it's something that you've built yourself. And I wanted to share that because I've always thought stuff like this is hard to attain. I can't do it. You know, I'd have to pay someone to get it built. And if you did, this particular item that I'm building, you'd spend over $1,000 to get it done by a workshop or someone else. This is my first one, so it might cost me $500 in materials. I've also got a heap of other stuff laser cut along with it, just because I knew these products will be handy for what I'm working on. So I got this laser cut, which matches this bracket. This is going to be a lower bracket. I did slot them so I can make these adjustable. I did stuff up. This is my first time learning how to draw on CAD. It happens. Just cost me a bit of money, but I've learned from my mistake. What I didn't allow for is extra material along here for when I bend these. So the idea behind this is to bend it along these thinner slots. I didn't know that I should allow extra material because of the bend radius. I've learned that now. That's something I'll always remember. Not the end of the world though, because what I'm going to do is actually cut these and use the gusset still. I'll just TIG weld it in place. Not a big deal. I got these laser cut too. This is something, all of these I drew up myself, so you can do this as well. But I got these laser cut as well for the truck. It's a 7mm hole in it. This will be handy for mounting all sorts of accessories on the truck. These were very inexpensive. And honestly, anyone that does any fab work will know, like once you start cutting materials and drilling it and deburring it and doing all that, it takes a long time. You know, it might take 5 minutes to make this. And it's just not worth the effort if you know how to get it cut. So if you can draw it and then you get it cut, I guarantee it's cheaper than wasting time on it. So that's what I'm into today. I get to use the pan brake. We're going to bend this. Okay, this is what I'm working with. So this is the back of my ute. And as you can see, I've got a milk crate up the back there holding a lot of just ropes and random stuff. And as you can see, I also like to carry bikes and all sorts of random toys. So the plan is, so I have a space above my tonneau cover here, right here. This is kind of dead space. Nothing happens with it. I don't really carry anything, so I don't need a big ladder rack. I've got trailers for that. I don't want one of these big humongous tub racks that sit up here. They just get in the way of everything. So this is what I'm thinking. A shelf here and a nice headboard. Let's get going. It's a moment of truth. Wish me luck. I'm going to put this panel in and bend it. I've put masking tape on here because aluminium likes to scratch up very easily. Look, I'm probably going to get this powder coated, but I don't want to damage it if I don't have to, right? There's no point adding scratches to it that might show up in the powder coating later on. So what I'm going to do is slip it in there now and and clamp it on, and hopefully I get a nice clean bend. I'm still waiting on the springs for this. I have ordered them. And I'm just lining it up. So when I designed this panel, I knew this brake wouldn't be super heavy duty. So if I was trying to bend a full sheet of 3mm aluminium, it'd probably be very hard. So essentially I've left 100mm tabs. And that's what the slots will allow, is I'm only bending 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Essentially 500mm of 3mm aluminium, not 1500mm. Which is how wide this panel is. So what I'm going to do now is get it lined up. As best as I can. So I'm happy with that. I'll lock it off. And we'll see if I've just wasted $200 or not. That's a 19. Remember that for the next time, guys. 19. I'm just going to double check. It's a bit hard to tell with the masking tape on there. Oh yeah, that's very out. All right, lock it off. Now let's see if she'll bend. Oh, that's hard work. That's not bending very well. I've had to do a bit of a reset. So I've got it most of the way bent. It's really hard. Way harder than I thought. But it still works. So I think that's my 90-degree bend there. As you can see, I had to bloody deadlift it. So I'll pull it out, I'll double check that it's at 90. And I'll roll with it. I think in future, I'm not going to make them a one-piece panel. I'm going to have the base and the headboard separate. That's hard work bending it on this. I could probably use a bit more leverage on the handle. But the problem is, the more leverage you have, the more chances of this tipping up, which means I'll probably have to bolt it down to the ground. So I think this is probably the maximum capacity. But the good thing is with aluminium, when it's small, it's quite easy to bend. And I actually have a press brake to bend smaller panels. But this pan brake will work well for the sheet metal. When I do the floor pan on the truck and stuff like that. So I'll just get it. This is an old square. You can see there I've radiused the inside. When you bend stuff, you can't measure for square if it has a radius, which anything that's being bent will. So it's hard to tell, but this panel's still floppy and I think it's at 90. So I think I'm going to roll with it. I'm happy with that. Let me pull it out and I'll show you what the vision is. This is the vision. So it's actually going to sit pretty well flush with the top of the tonneau cover there, or just above the tonneau cover. I don't actually want it above. I don't want a gap between it and the tonneau cover. And it's not actually too narrow because there's still 50mm box section going on here, which will give us the shape. and the thickness. But that's how it looks. Alright, I've got my little timber saw set up. This is just the cheapest chip saw. You can use all your woodworking gear on aluminium. It's very soft. I've just set it up to the angle I need. I'm going to run the vacuum. I usually do this stuff outside, but I don't want aluminium filings everywhere. So I'm going to do one cut and test it against the panel. And once I confirm that my angle is right, I'm going to do a few more cuts, get all the materials cut for it, and then I'll bring it in and we can have a look what we're up to. I ran into a problem where it wasn't cutting all the way through, so I've spaced my box section out, which will mean I can get the full depth of cut. So what I'm supposed to get is this panel should be flat on the ground, and this angle should be flat on the ground when it's hard up against this panel. Let me double check it. It's a very crude way of doing it, but if I can get it to work just by checking it. Oh, beautiful. That's exactly what I want. So now I'm going to flip it around, cut the other side, and I can work my way in. That way I can use the saw for both cuts at this angle. Well, as you can see, I've cut it all out. I had to do some of the cuts again because there was a little bit of a gap there. With the aluminium TIG welding, you can do a little gap. So this gap here probably shouldn't be a problem. As you can see there, I've got some tape. That's a really good trick to hold stuff in place while you're working on it. As you would imagine, you can't use magnets with aluminium, so you've got to come up with other ideas. So I've just got this clamp here so it doesn't fall off while I set it all up. So what I think now is I want to tack these together, and then I'll start working on the base. So what I'm thinking for the base is it's going to be 50 by 50. So if I can get this tacked up together and know it's not going to move, I can start cutting out the base, and then that will probably be all I'll get done today. I don't have a lot of time in the shed, so if I can get the frame tacked out today, I'll be a happy man. So I've been mucking around with the TIG welder now. I've got all the parts cut. What I need to do is tack it in position. My cuts aren't 100% perfect, and I know when I tack this up, these need to pull in. So that means you got to be strategic when you tack it. So I'm tacking mine on the inside because I need the gap up top to open, not the bottom. You got to pay attention, and you can kind of use your tacks as a bit of a hinge. So if I was to tack this on every part on the inside, I can still pull the parts in together. I shouldn't be able to pull them out. If I wanted it to pull out, I would tack it on the outside. I know my parts in particular, the way I've cut it, I need to pull them in. So I'm going to tack the inside, then I'll put the panel in, and then I can tack the outside knowing that it mates up to the panel perfectly. I've just been playing around with my TIG welder settings. I haven't TIG welded in a long time. And with aluminium, I can't remember the settings half the time. So I've been mucking around with it. Hopefully I don't blow any holes in it because I don't want to cut any more aluminium. So let's see how I go. Well, you can see the final product of this tub rack slash platform I've built. I like the way it looks. The only thing I don't like is the raw finish. My car has a lot of black and dark colors on it, and this thing stands out. So I think the next step is going to be powder coating, which I think will change the look of it. What I'll do now is I'll give you a walk around. and I'll throw some stuff up here and show you the function of it, just so you get an understanding of what I was thinking when I came up with the design. I definitely don't think it looks as good in the raw finish, so that's something I'll have to change. So that was the idea. You can see I've got my little tool bag up there. I wanted to be able to throw stuff up there and put a strap over it. This thing can take a good size toolbox, or like a Milwaukee Packout box, or the DeWalt T-Stack boxes. I've got all the DeWalt stuff, so I've had a DeWalt box up there and it fits quite nicely. The only thing I would probably change is I would have brought that top bar down a little bit if I was going to change the design, and I might close that gap up between the cab and the tray, but I want to see what it looks like powder coated black first. I think I could put a little bit of tilt that little headboard forward a bit. I think it'll make a world of difference in the appearance. But it's very functional. I'm very happy with how it looks. Like I said, I think in a black powder coating it'd look real nice.